Hey everybody, how are you today? It's Lisa here, owner of the Cupping Revolution. I just decided to do my Facebook Live outside today because it's such a beautiful day. Look at this. This is my backyard. You'd never guess that we actually live in downtown. Downtown is a bit of a stretch. Pickering. It's our house. But we have a huge amount of space. Lovely. Hi guys. Thanks. Just going to talk to you guys a little bit today about our online training. A lot of people, myself included, at the beginning when I courses in cupping, I didn't really think learning online was a great idea. You think about manual therapy, that you really want to be there to learn the techniques visually and hands-on, and it's true. You absolutely want to see what is being practiced. There's no doubt about it. But that argument doesn't really stand so much if you're in a video course and the videos are being shot specifically to teach those techniques. So this was something that I actually had to experience myself before I really understood it very well. When I started teaching my cupping courses, not in class, but the live course, to pull my hat up here, a few years ago, I videotaping the classes, and I did this so that I would have video for. Okay, so we may or may not have a signal here, so I'm gonna try moving a little closer to the house. So I recorded all of this, and then I got all of the questions, and then I reviewed it all, and that is when I created the second day of my live training, because I realized there was so much more that people wanted to know about this modality, and it was so forward and so different for so many people that they did have a lot of questions and uncertainties. And the problem that a lot of people I see again in courses is that when someone teaches a course, as a teacher, they are considered to be an expert in the course, in the material, and so a lot of students will sit quietly and take what the teacher is presenting to them as kind of gospel. And that is a great it's a great method for a teacher to develop authority in a class, but it's not always the best learning environment. I believe that the best learning environment is one where the material you're looking at is striking your curiosity, and it's making you think about how things could be, how things should be, how you can use this in your practice, what are the different ways, that really get your brain going. So for me, because that's how I am, I'm a very curious person, and when I learn something, I think about all the different ways that I can apply it into other things, and then I want to play with it and see where I can take it. So, hi the guys. How are you? So anyways, I wanted to touch on that because I've just had a couple of experiences recently where people have reached out to me directly or indirectly, and they've asked about certain things that they've learned in a class, and the answer to it has been, well, that's what I learned, that's what my teacher told me, And when you take it back to the but why, like what is the answer to the what is the explanation for that, there isn't necessarily any. It's just that's what I was told. um that's never really worked very well for me personally. If I am asking a question about something, I really want to know the answer from different perspectives. And so if someone is asking a question, sorry, I had to change hands there. My hand's getting cold. I want to think about all the different ways that question could be answered. And sometimes our perspective is narrow and sometimes it's broad. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, some people just want pure evidence based. They want techniques. They want to keep it really simple and straightforward, and that's great and that's fine. And there's lots of people out there who are teaching one-day courses that are very science and evidence based, and they're going to get their black and white answers. But I think as a practitioner of East Asian medicine, I learned East Asian medicine at the same time as I learned anatomy and physiology. So was it made me realize that there's just never one answer for anything, because every person is an individual and they need to be looked at differently. And part of that is intuitive, but part of it is also having assessment skills and understanding and knowledge of how the systems in the body work. And so you notice when I'm answering a lot of questions on the page, I'm also, I'm always, usually anyways, asking people more questions about the case so that you can get more information. So I find that I've looked at a lot of people's work, especially in cupping therapy, because I'm not a person who's going to put out some shitty ass course, excuse my language, but it's just not who I am. Like, I want to make the best material that I possibly can. And if I don't know something, then I want to learn it so that I can offer it to my students. I take this pretty seriously. And so, looking at a lot of people's work, and there's a lot of people doing good stuff out there, and there's a lot of different perspectives too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with learning cupping from a sports therapy perspective. There's nothing wrong of learning it from a pure evidence-based physiology perspective. But there's just a lot of different ways to look at it. And I think that my point here that I'm rambling on about is that whether you're taking a live course or an online course, it's much more important the approach of the facilitator than it is whether it's live or online. Because at the end of the day, if your questions are being answered and the information is being provided, that is not something that you need to stand there and watch. It's something that you need to read, or you need to hear, or you need to watch in a video or in a live format. So this is what I learned. I did some online training and I thought, how could I possibly learn that online? And then realized that the real juice in this stuff is in the questions that get asked or in the information that's provided, if that makes sense to you. So just as an example, I know someone took a live course this past weekend and they emailed me about a certain technique, and I didn't know what that person had taught or what their perspective was. I respect the teacher who taught it, but I didn't feel super equipped to answer because it didn't align with my understanding of the material. So, in these cases, like, I reached out to the teacher to try to understand better what they were getting at. But I definitely think that having a broad perspective in teaching, understanding your material, but also being really good at explaining it. And one of the things that I do when I teach a course is I forward, actually, when I do everything in life, it's not just teaching courses, I forward engineer it and I reverse engineer it. So I say, okay, this is the process. And so if I work backwards from there, why am I doing that? And what if I did it this way? And what about this way? And how would this come across? And just one example of that is, my theory about using stationary cupping for heat and inflammation and moving cupping to generate heat. Okay, nobody taught me that. That is something that I created, I came out with. That's my material, and it only made sense to me because heat is generated from movement. And so when we're moving the cups and we're moving cells and we're moving blood and we're moving tissue, we're generating movement and we're generating heat. So that's just an example of me reverse engineering something to make sense and in the end have a better result in your treatment. And I just taught you that on video. And now if you were listening or paying attention, you can think about that. And you can think about why that makes sense, and you can decide if it makes sense for you. And if it makes sense for you, then I recommend that you consider it in your sessions with your clients. And there's a lot more to that I go into in terms of who are the best patients for moving the cups. But anyways, I'm going to go online a few times this week, and I'm going to talk to you about this material. I've got lots of online material that's going to be coming up in the new year that are the master classes. So taking all of the cool sessions from the second day of my live training and breaking them down and expanding on them even more. So it's not just a quick demo and talking a little bit about a condition and doing a treatment, but seeing how it looks on, a few different clients and really talking through the work. So anyways, that's it. I was inspired to go live today, and like I said, I'm going to go live this week, and I hope that I see some of you on here, and I really love to help those of you who are already practicing cupping maybe gain a little broader or different perspective on it, maybe just make you think a little bit more about it. Maybe I won't. Maybe you already know all of this stuff, which is awesome and great, and maybe you're creating your own stuff, and we should be collaborating together and we can work together and learn from each other. I am so open to the fact that there is so much more out there in the world that I don't know as well, and I am fueled by learning and sharing. So I hope that you enjoy this and that you have a really beautiful day. I'm going to post the link below to join my mailing list where I am sending out lots of information. I have another email coming out today that's going to talk about why 2020 is going to be the most important year for you to learn and hone in on your cupping skills. So have a beautiful day, and hopefully this video worked, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.